get together on this virtual platform.
Yeah.
I think the best gift the COVID has given to all of us.
True. Good morning, Divya ma'am.
Good morning, Dr. Reena.
Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you so much for having me today.
We are honored to have you, ma'am.
Good morning, everybody. I hope I am audible to you. A very good morning to one and all who have joined on this virtual platform where our college is organizing webinar on intellectual property rights. I extend very warm welcome to our resource persons who have just joined this event. I extend very warm welcome to Dr. Aparna Maitra Patiji, Chief Scientist, CSIR, Dr. Divya Kaushik, Registered Patent Agent, PIC and TISC, Government of India. Welcome you, ma'am. And thank you for sparing time with us for this webinar. Dear participants, I hope I am audible to you.
Yes, you are audible, Neenu.
Thank you, ma'am. So I, Neenu Sharma, on behalf of Shanti Devi Arya Mahila College, Dinanagar, extend very warm welcome to all the participants who have joined us on this virtual platform where we are going to organize this webinar on intellectual property rights. I again extend very warm welcome to our resource persons, Dr. Aparna Maitra Patiji and Dr. Divya Kaushik. Welcome, ma'am. My humble request to Madam Principal for her welcome address. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Neenu. It is a matter of immense pleasure that Department of Commerce, Science and Computer Science is organizing a national webinar on the very relevant topic, intellectual property rights. Almost every year we organize national seminar on or webinar on this topic. Today we have distinguished scholar among us, Dr. Hardeep Singh, Officer Special Duty to VC Office and Professor, Department of Computer Science, Guru Nanak Dev University, Amritsar. Sir, you are playing a significant role in changing the level of thinking among students. I have got a chance to listen you in many academic events. You always put your sincere efforts for encouraging students to acquire skills in their life. I, on behalf of the Managing Committee and staff members, extend my heartiest welcome to you in this webinar. Today we have the honor to have great scholars, Dr. Divya Kaushik, Registered Patent Agent, PIC and TISC, Government of India, and Dr. Aparna Maitra Pati, Chief Scientist, Institute of Himalaya, Bioresource Technology, CSIR, among us. I wholeheartedly welcome you. Welcome both of you in this webinar, And I also express my thanks that all of you have spared your valuable time for this event. Now I want to tell you something about our institution. It is a matter of pride that from the past 57 years, our glorious institution is working with the mission of empowering women of this rural and backward area. The college has been re-accredited with the highest A grade by NAC. UGC has conferred us with the status of College with Potential for Excellence. This year, the college has been conferred with Green Champion Award by Mahatma Gandhi National Council of Rural Education, Ministry of Education, Government of India. Almost 1,000 institutions take part in this, and we have won the award under One District, One Champion Award. SDAM has also taken a lead in the region by successfully running 9 PG courses, BSc Biotechnology, 4 BVO courses, which provide ample opportunities to the women folk of this rural and border area. This year we have started BA Social Studies. This course is extremely helpful for the students who want to avail government jobs and preparing for government exams. We are also running 13 skill-oriented add-on courses. This year, we have also started 6 months diploma in software development, creative writing, and content development. There is a quote, knowledge has value only when shared and applied. Through this type of webinars, we get the opportunity to be benefited by the knowledge of our distinguished speakers. I am sure that the students and the teachers must be benefited by your valuable thoughts. The topic of today's webinar is intellectual property rights. Intellectual property is a category of property that includes intangible creations of the human intellect. There are many types of intellectual property, and some countries recognize them more than others. The most well copyrights, patents, trademarks, and trade secrets. The main purpose of intellectual property law is to encourage the creation of a wide variety of intellectual goods. To achieve this, the law gives people and businesses property rights to the information and intellectual goods they create, usually for a limited period of time. This gives economic incentive for their creation because it allows people to benefit from the information and the intellectual good they create, and allows them to protect their ideas and prevent copying. Now, I don't want to take much time, and I don't want to come between our resource persons and students. Once again, I want to thank all the dignitaries, teachers from different universities, colleges, dear students, for becoming the part of this webinar. Thank you so much. Over to Mrs. Neenu Sharma.
Thank you, ma'am. I extend very warm welcome to Dr. Hardeep Singh Ji, Professor at Department of Computer Science, Guru Nanak Dev University, Amritsar, and OST to VC Office, GNDU Amritsar, who has just joined us. Welcome, sir. So, dear participants, we are living in a very uncertain world. Everything is uncertain except death and taxes. But even in case of death, we don't know the time of death. And in case of taxes, we don't know what rate of tax will be charged by the government. So in order to deal with these uncertainties, we protect, we keep safe our tangible assets like our land, our property, our jewelry, our cash. But the question arises, what about the intangible assets? Yes, I'm talking about the intellectual property. The intellectual property that needs to be protected. And for that, we have with us very learned and seasoned personalities who have expertise in this field and who will delve deep into the topic concerned. With this, I invite our first resource person, Dr. Aparna Maitrapati ji. Before Madam starts her discourse, let me give you the detailed introduction of Madam Dr. Aparna Maitrapati ji. Madam is Chief Scientist at Biotechnology Division, Institute of Himalayan Bioresource Technology, CSIR. Has done her PhD in 1995 from rural Rani Durgavati University, Jabalpur. Postdoctorate at CSIR IHPT. She has to her credit development of technologies like low-cost production of biofertilizer, cost-effective protocol for production of saffron microcorns through tissue culture. Madam is proud recipient of 3 awards: Alma Stocky Botany Prize for the Best Student of BSc 3rd Year Botany, Best Paper Award in Ecology section in Conference of Indian Botanical Society in the year 1993, and CSIR Innovative Suggestion Award 2005. Till date, Madam has completed 5 projects. Pardon? Sorry. Till date, Madam has completed 5 projects under DBT, CSIR, DSIR, GB Pant Institute of Himalayan Environment Development. Dear participants, please mute yourself. And ongoing projects are under DBT, CSIR, IHPT, Amity collaboration sponsored by CSIR and Arizona Biotech. Madam has enormous contributions in innovation and technology management. Reading out her biodata is indeed a pleasure for me. Now I request Dr. Aparna Maitra Patiji for her discourse. Welcome to you, ma'am, and please start.
Thank you, ma'am, for your kind, introduction. So, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, you are audible, but your screen is not being shown right now.
Okay, just a minute. I'll share my screen.
Yes, now, ma'am, it is presentable, right?
Is it visible, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am, it is visible now.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for your kind introduction, ma'am. And at the outset, I would like to express my wholehearted thanks to Principal Madam Dr. Reena Talwar and the organizers for giving me this wonderful opportunity to interact with you all through online mode. So, not taking much time, I'll just come to my presentation. So today we'll be seeing a little bit about discovery to commercialization. As you are all aware that, our institute is an R&D organization. And as Madam, in her introduction rightly said that intangible asset is a very valuable asset for any academic institute, whether it is R&D institute or a teaching institute, because every day in and day out, we are involved in producing new knowledge, and new knowledge is a form of intangible asset. So today I'll take you along from discovery to commercialization. That is how we generate value through our IPR. Okay. So just to begin, these are our general, tangible properties, or whenever a property, somebody sounds a property, how much property you have, all these things come to our mind, and we, ignore this particular wonderful intellectual property of which we are a creator. Okay. And this is very true for, as I said, R&D organizations and academic institutes. And we should not neglect this, because it is a result of very hard work, and we can actually generate a large amount of value through this, our intangible intellectual property. Now, as Madam said in the beginning, there are different forms of IPR that could be patent, copyright. Yeah. Hello. Okay. Patent, copyright, trademark, trade secret, geographical indication, industrial design, layout and design of integrated circuit. Depending upon the kind of work you are involved in, you can actually take the rightful IPR. Okay. So we'll be talking a little bit about patent. Patent, whenever you are actually filing for a patent, you have to be very careful about its novelty. It is one of the criteria based on which a patent is granted. It should be absolutely novel. That means this particular knowledge should not be there in public domain. This is very important. So for any invention to be patented, it should not be disclosed to public. Actually, what happened, we in academic, forum, what do we do is, as soon as we find something new and interesting, we go out to the world, shout it out, in our
Pardon, ma'am, you are not audible now.
Is it okay now?
Yes, ma'am, now it's okay.
So did you hear about the novelty, why it is important? Or should I repeat it?
Please continue.
Okay. See, as I said, I don't know from where I, actually got muted, but the thing is that for if you want to patent anything, your discovery, it has to be something very novel, not disclosed to public. So if you are intending to patent, don't publish it in annual reports, don't publish a paper, don't present it in seminar. Only after filing, you can actually disclose it to public. So this is very important from academic point of view, that if in case you are planning to protect your invention through IPR, and that is through patent, then don't disclose it before that. Okay. Now the second is, questions I think we can take at the end. Okay, then second step is inventive step. This is very important. That means whatever you are doing should not be known to the person in the yard. Suppose you add mixture A and add mixture B, then you know that automatically mixture C will be produced. So these kind of information or these kind of knowledge are not patentable. But by adding A and B, suppose you produce some new compound, which is D, which is not available, or the technique or the process is entirely new. You have an inventive step, only then can you patent it. So known knowledge cannot be patented. And third is that it should have industrial application and it should not be destructive. Okay, so these are some of the criteria on which patents are granted. There are many, but these are prime. It should not, in prior art, that particular knowledge should not be in public. There should be inventive step and it should have some commercial application. Okay, so, and what you do after getting patent, it is once you get a patent, you cannot keep the patent to yourself, because if you're keeping the patent to yourself and you are not generating value out of it, then your patent is absolutely useless. So once you get patent, then you go out and disclose it to the public, because there might be someone who want to use your patent. Okay, and because it is a property, so in case they want to use your patent, they have to give some amount of credibility to you. It can be in form of cash, it can be in form of technology, it can be anything. Okay, so once you have a patent to your credibility, you can lease it out, you can license it, you can do whatever with it in return of money. So that is the important, that you have to generate value, economic value out of your patent. So once you get patent, it is important that you disclose about it. The public should know about it, the industry should know about it, so they can reach you and give you your value. And patent life is 20 years. So before this 20 years lapses, you have to actually commercialize your patent. This is important, because once after 20 years is gone, then that patent will be in public domain and anybody can make commercial use of it. Okay, so this is about CSIR Labs. Of the organization where I belong, there are 37 national laboratories, 39 outreach centers, 3 innovation complexes. Okay, so this is our organization. CSIR was ranked 37th, organization globally among 1,587 government institutions with respect to its intangible outputs. Okay, so today we have around more than 2,000 patents which are in force. That means they are live, and about 30 to 35 95% of our patent has been commercialized, which is a very good number. And commercialized in the sense that means CSIR as an organization is getting a good return from its intellectual property right. Okay, so we are working in diverse area. It spans across aeronautics, road research, building, mining, bioresources, drug, molecular biology, and even information sciences. So these are the quantum of areas where we work. Okay, so now coming to my lab, that is Institute of Himalayan Bioresource Technology. Our main focus is bioresources and how we can add value to it. And for sustainable development, this is very important, not reckless development, but sustainable development. That means it should not harm our environment, which is very crucial to our survival. So what do? We look into bioresources, mainly plants and microbes, and we actually isolate enzymes, molecules, food and nutraceuticals, and other important compounds. These compounds or these IPR are given to industry so that they can mass produce it. Okay, this everything should reach to society after all. So all our knowledge should reach to the society. It could be through industry, it could be through cooperative societies, it could be through farmers, anybody. But then it is important to transfer your information to society. So here our partners are industry, then we also cater to the society, and our area are floriculture, cultivation and processing of medicinal and aromatic plants. Stevia, saffron, tea are some of our mandate crops, which we have been working for years. Okay, and we also take care of the environment by creating databases. We know which particular plant is present in Himachal Pradesh in what amount. Then we go into remote sensing. The areas are very rugged and you cannot actually reach all the Himalayan area on foot. So you take help of remote sensing mapping so that you can map the entire floristic area of the region. Okay. Then we also into the hyperspectral signatures where you can do the wonderful canopy mapping and ecosystem services. So these are the broad areas in which our institute is working. Now coming to our specific patents. Actually, as I said, that we have team of ecologists and scientists who go on foot and travel to different interior rugged terrain, and there we found that under ice, this particular plant, Potentilla, was actually flourishing very luxuriantly, while other, there were no other flora. So scientists actually thought, what is it that this particular plant is able to survive in this hard terrain? So they, through their curiosity, they collected the planting material, they got it into our lab, and then they isolated the enzymes and proteins. So they found among different proteins present, one was salt, superoxide dismutase. It's a common protein, but its unique property is that it is thermostable. Even if you autoclave it, it actually do not lose its potential. It's able to function. Those who are working in the area of biology would understand its value. Proteins are highly thermolabile. If you increase the temperature, they stop functioning. But this particular protein was very stable. It could tolerate the temperature of 21 degrees centigrade and could function even sub-zero to 50 degrees centigrade. Okay. So this was a wonderful protein that we got into our hand. Now we thought, what is it? Which are the genes responsible for producing this particular protein? So we cloned all the genes which are actually producing salt. Okay. So what happened is then after cloning this, we actually modified E. coli. Okay, we inserted those genes into E. coli, and interestingly, E. coli started producing salt. Okay, superoxide dismutase, which had very similar or almost all the similar properties to that which was found from nature. Then we isolated pure salt. Okay, this is pure salt. So entire technology, you can say the knowledge was put into patent claims. There are 64 patent claims, one of the longest patent claims of CSIR. So 64 patent claims, and we got those for that. And then we developed a technology, and this technology has now been transferred to an industry, and industry is producing this salt. So now you understand that you discover a plant, you do the entire R&D, then you protect your IPR through patenting, then you go into commercialization. So these are the steps from discovery to how you can make value or generate value of your IPR. So similarly, tea is a common, I said, this is one of the mandate crop of the institute. But what happens? The returns of the farmers has become stagnant over the years, okay? Because tea has, you cannot increase the value, you can go on increasing the value of tea. So what we thought, there could be some value-added products developed from tea. Then we found that there are very many chemicals, antioxidants present in tea, and catechin is one of them. So entire technology was developed for isolation of catechin from tea. Okay. Now this process, entire process was patented, and this technology has now been transferred to an industry, which is a local industry. This is important actually to groom the locals also. So we gave it to a local industry because he can then get the leaf or the plant material from the local planters. So that will actually catalyze the economy of the region. And under this Bio-Act project, because that particular industry was a local industry, they didn't have so much of capital fund. So we submitted a joint project to Bio-Act, and Bio-Act actually sponsored this particular project. Now this industry have their own setup, and they are manufacturing catechin in forms of tablets, and these are antioxidants, and the benefit of antioxidant. So what did we do? We isolated from the tea, we developed a value-added material, entire processes, then we framed its technology, patented, then we went into our website, we invited expression of interest, those who bidded for it, we looked into their credibility, then we formulated MAU, technology transfer, and now what are we getting? We are getting license fee and royalty from the products which the company is actually marketing. Okay, so these are another, some of the other products related to tea. These are tea-based sanitizer, which we developed during the COVID time. This is tea-based vinegar. It is rich in antioxidant, tea-based wine, and tea-based cola. So instead of drinking bottled carbonated drink, so you can go for tea-based cola. This has also been transferred to local entrepreneur. And importantly, this Kangra has the GI for their tea, okay, and all the technical information which was required for getting the GI to the government was actually given by our institute. So we can proudly say that we played a prominent role in getting the Kangra tea as GI. So now you have seen that patent is one form of our, IPR. GI is another form where actually just the planters can be benefited. Planters, Kangra region. So nobody else can actually sell their produce as Kangra tea. So it has its unique taste, aroma, flavor, and that can be protected through getting GI. Okay. So another example is stevia. This is low calorie sweetener. As you know, the person who is suffering from diabetes can also take stevia. So there was very limited material available in the country, some 20 years back. But our institute developed agro technology. They have developed new varieties of stevia, and now it has been actually popularized all over India. Then we developed a technology to isolate steviol glycosides from the stevia. Okay, these are water-based technology. And now you have this tabletop sweetener. So from the planting material to sweetener, it has taken us definitely 10, 15 years, to reach this particular stage. But now this product is in the market and people are benefiting. And what are we getting? We are getting the license, technology transfer fee and the royalty. Now, this is not all the time that we, take our own problem. This was a problem which was posed or, requested by HPMC to our institute. You know that Himachal Pradesh is an apple producing country, state. So what happens is it produces a lot of juice. What is remain is the apple pomace. And these are actually deteriorate or because these are susceptible to microbial degradation. They cause a lot of environmental problem. So HPMC, approached us and asked us whether we can do something about the apple pomace. Can we make something, value-added product out of it? Then our scientists worked for some time and they said, okay, we can extract dietary fiber. But the problem was that to separate the seeds from the pomace, because while making the fiber, we did not require the seed. And this was actually coming in the way. Now, this was a problem. And how did we solve it? We developed a seed separator. Okay. Now, from this machine, you can actually separate the apple seeds. And then it could be, so this we patented the design. Now a particular firm is manufacturing this unit. And after separating the apple seed, we are not only making dietary fiber, but also the oil of apple seed is highly antimicrobial. So this can be used for pharmaceutical purposes. So this was a problem which was, requested by HPMC. We took it up, worked on it, and then we developed patent around it and also related technologies. Then this is another flavor, like tissue culture protocol. As said, our institute is working in tissue culture protocol for a number of years, and there we developed a particular protocol to erase or eliminate the viral infection from the apple plants. Actually, what happens is the apple plantation in Himachal are very old, so continuously it has to be replenished with new plantations. So where do we get the large amount of planting material? Through tissue culture is one of the route. So we eliminated the virus infection from the planting material, developed the mother culture. Now, what did we do? As we are not large scale producer, we are only technology provider. So we transferred this particular technology, the mother culture, the entire processes to nearby, industries. Now they are producing large scale apple plantlets from this technology. So it is not only that every time we seek money, but also we need to catalyze the society in a right way. So this is how this is not something which we have patented, but this is a know-how which we transferred along with the mother culture through a MOU in exchange of little amount of money. Okay, so similarly, the entire tissue culture protocol for propagation of damas rose, that is a scented rose, was also developed by us. Similarly, this technology was also transferred to MS Kanand level, and now they have actually initiated commercial scale cultivation in South. Similarly, we have developed a tissue culture protocol which is around, which reduces the cost of production by about threefold. So already industry is expressing their interest to take it up, and soon we'll be transferring it to the technology. So it is not always the patent, but even the knowledge you can protect through your MOUs, and then you can give it to the rightful takers. Now, this is a particular plant, high altitude plant, from where you can get this red color. But this is an Arnavia euchroma, and this is endangered plant. Why? Because it has been uprooted so much that it is now almost extinct from the nature because of their red color. So what we did, again, we went into tissue culture and cell culture method, and now we are producing this particular color in bioreactors, and we are actually mature our technology. This technology is now mature and transferring it soon to a big company, and for this we'll get a good financial return. This I have already discussed. Okay, this is another flavor of technology. Like what happens in Kangra, this is called as dham, their traditional food, But the problem was that you could not preserve it, and this is made on some special occasions by the local cooks. Okay, so there was a lot of demand of developing a preservation technology or process for preserving this particular dham. So without retaining its original texture, color, flavor was a challenge, and also to preserve it. Okay, so but our institute worked on it for some time, and then entire technology, preservation technology, was developed. This we have patented, and now the technology has been transferred to local entrepreneurs who are actually manufacturing this traditional nutritious food, which is circulated or commercialized all over India. And this became very handy during the time of Amphan and disaster, because we can actually supply ready-made food to the affected areas. So this was a good rescue. Then similarly, to catalyze the local resources, what happens is buckwheat is a cereal which is grown in the high altitude region. But the problem is that the local people did not have any good product out of it. So it was grown in the abandoned and neglected areas. So our institute developed buckwheat nutritious bar, because this doesn't have gluten, and there's a big market of gluten-free products in urban areas. So what happened is we developed this technology, and this has been transferred to industry, and now industry is sourcing the raw material from the high altitude local areas. So you can see that the entire catalyzation of economy is going on. So the local people benefits is going to the grassroots and to the industry. So there's a complete chain from the grassroots to the society to the urban population, who are the utilizers, and the community who are the producers. So this is how a technology and IPR play a big role in catalyzation of entire economy of a particular region. Okay. Similarly, farmers actually encounter a lot of loss in preservation of fresh fruits, because they have a very short shelf life and get easily deteriorated. So our institute developed a preservation technology. Again, this is a low temperature preservation, and you can see these are preserved bananas, and you can keep it for 3 to 4 months. And the entire property would be retained. It will retain its natural aroma, the natural flavor, and natural taste. So this has also been, this is not for actually money, but this is actually to empower the local farmers. And so we are now actually, with help of our sister organization, we are actually developing low cost machines which can go into preservation of food, so that the farmers can be benefited. Now, these are some of the varieties, as I said, through R&D, and it takes a lot of years, 10, 15 years to develop a new variety, because you have to develop a variety, test its character, validate it over time and again in different multi-locational trials. So it definitely takes a lot of resources, time, and energy of scientists. So what do we get in return? When we release a variety, what do we do is we give it or transfer, because planting material is available with the institute. So we sign MOU and we give it to the party who can give us some money in return. And then we give them monopoly of breeding and commercializing it. But they cannot transfer the right to another person. They can commercialize the produce, but they cannot give it to some other company for commercialization without our permission. So this is how we protect our new knowledge. This is not, because in India, you cannot patent the variety. Live materials as such cannot be patented, but you can actually protect it through MOUs, or guard your planting material, and then give it to the person who can give some benefit to our institute. And all our patents are non-exclusive. That means for a single patent or single technology, we can give it to a particular, numerous companies, so that everybody can be benefited. But to eliminate the competition, we can say, okay, for first 3 years, I am giving you the benefit, only you will be the sole manufacturer. Then after 3 years, we can give it to, so there are different ways to guard that also. That comes later on during the commercialization and other, okay. But this is how we are actually giving our technology to multiple, takers, so that there is no monopoly. These are some of the innovations that we developed while doing our R&D. Actually, we were developing tissue culture protocol, which was for societal benefit, and we found that the laminar flow costs are exorbitant, and that was a limiting factor. So what did we do? We actually developed a portable laminar flow, and this has been patented. And then this comes at around 10 to 15,000 rupees, compared to lakhs of laminar flow. Okay, so for small users, colleges, they can use a small laminar flow. And this was actually what technology was transferred to Rees Scholar Ambana. Okay, so these are some of the small innovations, but that can play a critical role. Now, those who have worked with gel would understand that the gels are very delicate and they are susceptible to breakage. So we developed a gel handling devices, okay, small, portable gel handling devices, which enables easy transfer, staining, and visibility of gels. Similarly, this is a mini distillation unit. Small farmers who produce or grows aromatic crops like rose or tagetes, they cannot actually afford to take their planting material to other area to get it distilled. So this is a small distillation unit which can be operated under wood or coal or anything. So from 5 kg to 25 kg of planting material can be processed, and you can get a pure oil. So instead of selling your raw material for a lesser value, you can of course sell your value added product for a higher. returns. So this is to enable and empower the farmer. So entire design has been patented. This was also transferred to a particular company, and they are actually manufacturing this particular distillation unit. Now, this is a mobile distillation unit. This is a bigger unit, and it can be sent to remote areas. And once the truck reaches the remote area, the entire distillation unit can be dismantled, and then processing can go on, and truck will be free to undertake the other activities. So entire design has been patented, the technology has been patented, and also transferred to a firm in Ludhiana. So basically, if you see what are the steps involved in entire process, first you have to observe something. Okay, your observation as a scientist is very important. Then you have to work on it. You have to develop, you have to put your energy, you have to put your intellect into it. Then you have to see the need of the society, and then you have to develop a new knowledge. Once you develop a new knowledge, then you can actually think either you can publish it without seeking IPR for public benefit, or you can take, suppose it is a database, then you can go for copyright. If you want to have a new processes, then you can go for patenting. So depending upon the new knowledge or intellect output, you can protect it. There are different, as I said, kind of IPRs available, so that whenever, because once you have IPR, you are the owner, then you can actually decide as to who can use it. The someone who can gives a good value to your IPR can use it. So you can go for techno evaluation. For all the technologies that we are developing, we are actually evaluating as to how much price we should charge from one particular firm. The price can differ based on the company. If it is a very big company, has a good market, then for the same IPR, we can charge a particular value. If we have to promote the local entrepreneur, he will not be in position, or she will not be in position to give a high value to that. But for catalyzing local economy, it is important. So this is up to you, because you are the owner. You can decide and fix the price. So we evaluate our technology through our business development, and then we frame MOU, and then it is commercialized. There are different numerous steps involved, but this is just in nutshell how we go about it. Okay. So thank you. And this was, all which I had to say from my end. And I would be, happy to interact.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you for giving us valuable insights on patents and patent criteria, and especially your slide of Himachali food madra that reminds us of Himachali Dham, where all the Himachali sumptuous delicacies are served.
Okay,
thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you for your discourse. My humble request to all the participants and resource persons to please switch on their video for a minute so that we can take a screenshot as per protocol. I request the participants and resource persons to switch on the video, please. All the students who have joined us, please switch on your videos. Your participants, kindly mute yourself. we can continue. Kindly switch off your videos. And thank you, Dr. Aparna Maitrapati ji, for your valuable presentation. Our next resource person is Dr. Divya Kaushik. Madam Divya Kaushik is registered patent agent and has been working for IPR promotion and filing in state of Punjab and Chandigarh for the last 14 years. Madam is presently handling activities of Patent Information Center, PIC, and Technology Innovation Sports Center set up by Department of Science and Technology and Department of Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade, Government of India, respectively. She has authored several publications on IPR, including United Nations Industrial Development Organization's technical report on patent analysis for enhancing productivity in the Indian bicycle sector. Welcome, ma'am, and over to you for your presentation.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you for your kind words. And first of all, my regards to Dr. Reena for organizing this special event on IPRs today, wherein we all, I'll say, I can, contest that the woman power today needs again to understand on these imperative issues of modern economy. And she has taken a lead to organize this event each year, so as to make our students and faculty members aware of the very important topics of IPRs. And with this, I today, I'm here to interact with you all. And I represent my State Council for Science and Technology today, which is working under Department of Science, Technology and Environment, Government of Punjab, for taking this specific issue of IPR related matters to the grassroots. And we try our best that we not only try and give you the right kind of advisory and information related to IP, but we also give you certain services that can be availed by all the faculty members and the students of all the academic institutions present in the state of Punjab as well as Chandigarh. And in today's talk, I will try and cover what all services we can provide to you. Madam Aparna has actually set the stage very right. I think it was apt today to hear the success stories of how we have to take these considerations into limelight while we are inventing something, and specifically not stopping at inventing, we have to take our inventions to the market. So this IP ecosystem is basically to help or to empower you all with all the information that how we can actually take care of our intangible properties of patents, copyrights, trademarks, etc. And these intangible properties, they can help you in making your own mark in this market world. So with that, I think I can share my screen and ask the organizing team to kindly let me know once you can actually see my screen.
Yes, ma'am, your presentation is visible.
Thank you so much. So I'll start today's session with my kind and warm, wishes for everyone on this World Intellectual Property Right Day. That was just yesterday. And we at the State Council, being the state node for all IP matters for the Punjab and Chandigarh state, we are, organizing a week-long celebration with different institutions of the state. We are supporting many programs with our IPR cells set up in the universities, as well as academic institutions like yours, to celebrate this very important, pertinent, day of today, especially for the academicians and the faculty members who are into this research field, and they should be, well versed with the IPC system, so as to, give shape to the Atmanirbhar Bharat concept. And under that, I think we are all very, very much aware of the ranking systems that are going around, and we are, consistently we are hearing about, okay, the world economies are being ranked on innovation index. Even similarly, the country is also trying to rank our states on innovation index. So what particularly are these indexes? These generally are talking about how actually we are driving our innovation ecosystem, and particularly trying to, compare each one of us with the other economy. Like on the global innovation index, we are trying to compare India as compared to the other innovative countries of the world. And very happy to share that we are among the top 50 countries of the world on the innovation index ranking of the previous year. So this has been again, through the push that is being given by Government of India and the state governments towards building up the innovation ecosystem, and not only, stopping at protecting our technologies, but actually giving them, transition from lab to the market through the strategies that have been discussed by the previous speaker very well. So we are looking forward to become each and every, the state is competing against each other to, to strengthen the ecosystem of the innovation, and thereby not only the, states, but as well as the startups, the academic institutions, they are being ranked or they are being judged on how well they are able to support their innovation. And that is the reason we all, academic institutions, specifically a special college, women college like yours, should be well aware that if we are able to innovate, we should be able to protect. And if we are able to protect, we will be having our own mark in these, known ecosystem values. And not only, as your principal shared, that you are a NAC A college, we will be able to, project this college as the most innovative college. And with that vision, we take you along through the presentation today. So like we talked about the innovation rankings, we also keep track on how these numbers of IPs that are being protected or applied in the patent office, how we are faring on that. So at the State Council, we also try to assess how our state is doing, or how good we are performing on the IP protection scenarios. So if we talk about the national numbers, of course, in the last few years, after specifically, bringing about the national IPR policy by Government of India, there has been a huge jump in the filing numbers of various forms of intellectual property. And if we talk about our own state, we stand at 5th position as per the annual report of Patent Office for the year 1920. And for these, past years and in the near future, we want to climb up this ladder and, very specifically give competition to the, metro cities like the states having the metro cities like Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka. And of course, with the state's initiative under the Mission Innovate and the Innovation Mission, we plan to, take this ranking upwards. We have also tried to map our institutions, and very proud to say that in last 3-4 years, we have actually seen a surge in filing numbers. And that is the purpose of bringing out this kind of awareness, that, these numbers actually count towards each and every IP that is being protected. And these numbers are not only the IPs that are actually protected, but these are the IPs which you will be seeing in the market in the near future. Like ma'am rightly pointed out, how her institution has been, developing new technologies, protecting them, and eventually, taking it to the market. So all the protected IPs definitely have an edge while they are being negotiated on the table. So while you are licensing out your technology, it is best that you have protected it, and under the protection, you'll be able to, I'll say license out at a very high or a premium price. And that is the reason we try and assess these kind of technologies at the state level. And again, I'm happy to share that there are several domains of sciences which are being very proactive in filing, specifically the mechanical, the chemical engineering, even the computer science. When I was told that this college has, different streams like computer science, biotechnology, so I was much looking forward to the scientific innovations that could, come out from your college. And again, in line with those, if I, also take you towards the industrial design filing, which is again one form of IP, which is like crucial for the businesses like which depend on the design feature, like jewelry, fabric, textiles. So these kind of, again, the domains, they have a high impact in terms of their industrial designs. So all these design filings or patent filings, eventually we try and track, just not to keep up who's doing well, faring well or not, but also to motivate our front runners, that like your district Gurdaspur is one of the key district that is being taken care, and in that we can collectively bring out a change in the innovation ecosystem. So Aparna ma'am had given very interesting examples of different forms of intellectual property that have been commercialized from IHBT, and particularly taking you a bit backwards on basic understanding, because as I was going through your chat box, I've seen many BCom students even joining this webinar today. So I'll try and put things in a very simple manner, in simple words, just to let each one of you know that it's like IP is not only for scientists, it is for every one of us. So even if you are doing commerce, even if you are doing some medical or non-medical, BSc, MSc, so every one of you can contribute to this ecosystem, because each one form of intellectual property is something that is catering to a specific innovation or specific creative work. If we see the gamut of intellectual property rights, we'll see there is one specific, I'll say, IP that is pertaining to the protection of inventions, that is known as patents. Though patents have a very high value while you are negotiating, but again, there are the other forms of intellectual property rights like industrial designs, copyrights, plant varieties, trademarks. They have their, I'll say, they have their real values when you are taking your product to the market. So let us kindly, put some time together to understand the basic differences and find out, if you are from different fields of sciences or education, how each one of you can contribute to the system. It's not like the IP to theek hai, it is for the scientists or the lab people to think about patenting or not. So let us just quickly, I'll just differentiate each form of IP, and in case you have any queries, kindly just keep noting them down, and probably towards end we will try and clarify your doubts, so that everybody going home after this webinar has a takeaway that, okay, this is my domain and I can contribute here, and bring fame to my college as well as weight to my resume. So that with that aim, I try and differentiate all forms of IP for you. Patents, again, specifying that it pertains to protection of technology. So if you are inventing some new technology, when we say new technology, it is not always rocket science, very clearly. Almost all 90% of the patents that are being filed, they are filed for the improvement in the previous technology. For example, if I talk about let's say, taking a simple example, if we talk about a mic, because I am delivering this lecture through this mic that has been associated with my laptop. So in case it is giving some noise, right, if my voice is not clear, and if you improvise this technology will be qualifying for protection under patents, right? It has nothing to do what appearance you will give to the laptop, whether this laptop will be manufactured by X company or Y company. It is just pertaining to the technology that is being assembled in that laptop to give minimum noise and maximum clarity to the voice that is being transmitted. So that kind of technologies, they are going for patents. And in all fields of sciences, we have different classification, for each and every aspect that can be covered under that particular domain. And feel free, in case you have any doubt whether or not this will qualify for a patent. It can be simply an improvement in the product, in the process of manufacturing. It can be a process that is, let's say, any biotechnological process protocol that you are following in your lab, and you happen to change that and get a better result. So feel free to talk to a IP analyst, and he will try and assess it in the live.
Hello, ma'am. Ma'am, your video is still.
So that was regarding patents.
I think some network problem is there. Madam, your voice is not audible.
Am I audible now?
Yes, ma'am. Now you're audible.
Okay. So I think I left on saying that it has to be new. Your invention has to be new and it has to be somehow technologically advanced. If you are solving any problem that was there in the technology, it will qualify for a patent. And in case of any small or big doubt, feel free to consult an IP analyst. And in case you are from the same college, feel free to refer to my office and we will help you assess your patentability. Right. So this was regarding patents. Second IP that is again very important is industrial design, because if you are able to, develop a new product, you have to project that product in the market, and how good looking your product is will actually also contribute towards the selection of the product by the customer. Right. So when we are going out, even for buying a small item like a pen, so I will also, consider what design is there in the pen. I mean, of course, if I'm asking for a blue ballpoint pen, so the shopkeeper will show me ample, options that are there in the ballpoint pens. But I might select one pen which is like, let's say it appeals to my eye more. Of course, it will have some functionality, or I'll say, it will be dictated, the choice will be dictated by how good the pen works. But again, the second point of consideration will be how good it looks. Same is the case when you are buying your clothing. Same is the case even when you are buying your car. So if I have to buy a car in, let's say, 10 lakh of rupees, so I'll see the options and finally with the comparable features, I'll select a better looking car for myself. So that is the power of industrial design. And this industrial design is not specific to, I'll say, scientists, right? If you have some family business and you are going in for a better design, feel free to file for that design. So that industrial design will fetch you a better premium price for your product. That is true when we are buying our, this limited edition watches. That is true when we are buying some dress from a specific fashion house. So these things are protected under these IPRs, and that is why they have a premium price, right? The third IP, again, that is very important to the businesses is trademarks. Trademarks particularly is important if when you are actually going to the market. Actually, you have done your science well, and now you want to take your product to the market. So you have to have some logo or trademark that you will put on your product and place it on the shelves of the market, right? That can be, if I, give you examples from your life that you consume every day. So even starting in the morning with a toothbrush and a toothpaste, you will have certain brand that you prefer, right? So maybe Dantkanti, Colgate, Miswak, whatsoever you are using. So that mark that recognizes the product and dictates the choice of the customer, that is your trademark. This trademark can be a word mark, it can be a logo, it can be a simple a tick mark, a swoosh, it can be a smell, it can be the sound. For example, let's say the starting sound of a bike. All these things are trademark and they associate well with the product and build your brand. So they are equally important, right? But here we are not concerned with the quality. We are not concerned with how the product looks like. It is just the mark that you'll put on your product. So it can be like IBM, Apple, etc. I mean, any brand that you see around you, that is a trademark. And again, it is registered under different IPR forms. So these intellectual property right forms, of course, are very relevant to you all as student and faculty, because something is like कि हम हर रोज जो use कर रहे हैं उन चीजों में है. Second, what we can do as a part of our curriculums or when we are actually doing our research, right? But again, there are other forms of intellectual property rights like plant varieties. what ma'am was talking about, that they are developing new plant varieties for, that are more suitable to the environment. They are producing high yields. So these kind of hybrid plant varieties again are registered, and they are registered under different, acts of intellectual property rights that are being enforced by the central government in India. So these form of intellectual IP forms, like patent, like plant varieties, like geographical indications. Saying geographical indications, I can, give you the example of Fulkari from Punjab. So that is a protected GI. Again, ma'am also talked about confidential information that is being protected through your MOUs. अगर आपने कोई scientific project कर भी लिया, right? You have developed a product, but there are some nuances, there are some, important information that you will only share with your licensor. So these things are confidential information, and this is like not restricted to the scientific literature, but also like customer information, like feedback forms, or something like you might say the client list. So these things are also protected under various forms of IPRs. Similarly, the layout designs of integrated circuits. And last but not the least, I've taken copyrights to be the last because they are very different from all other forms of intellectual property right, because all forms will require a formal registration and securing your rights through the government. But copyrights are something which they have their rights even if you don't go for formal registration. So this presentation that I'm today delivering before you, it will have my I'll say my institution's copyright over that. All the notes that you make in your notebooks, they have copyrights for you on those notes. If you are giving your dissertation, if you are submitting your dissertation to the college, so that dissertation is also having copyrights. Now the question generally that comes to my office is that, madam, should we go in for protection of all the works that we do, that we create? Practically, it is not possible, right? Practically, you cannot protect each and everything that you write, or that you actually fix to some medium. That medium can be your notebooks, that medium can be a virtual session recording, that medium can be any I'll say USB drive or something. So these kind of things, everything that you create cannot be protected, or it practically will not have value. But you should be very active in protecting what is of value or what can be commercialized. In case as faculty members you are developing a new book, and right, on the basis of, let's say, the new education policy has been released, and in line with the new syllabi, you are making a new book on the subject, right? You are writing a new book. So that book eventually has to go to the market, and it will be bought by the children, and it has some commercial potential. So those kind of works, be specific in protecting, and protecting as soon as you create. It will be better to create, protect your intellectual property rights as soon as you finish creating them, specifically in copyrights or industrial designs. But in case of patents, again, as soon as you are able to get your good results, go ahead with protecting your invention through patent, and eventually you will get some, time under the act to complete your application or to build upon your application and finally submit your claims. So with that, I just wanted to emphasize that even if you are from any field, अब BCom वाले बच्चे सोच रहे हैं कि हम क्या करेंगे इसमें से, so let us see. अगर if you are further taking up your CA and you are working with your firm, so if you are having your knowledge of intellectual property, you will be aware that this information again is a confidential information which you are dealing with your clients. So that information you can protect in case you are hiring some, let's say, staff member. So you should be aware that this confidential information is something that has to be protected, and again it has to be relevantly conveyed to your employees, to your clients, that this is something that I don't want to share. So that might be your client information, that might be your, let's say, any formula that you have developed in house and using it for calculation of taxes, etc. That can be anything. So each one of you today that is on this platform for listening to this webinar, just be aware that IP is for everyone. IP is not only for one community, it is for everyone of us to understand, not only for protecting our own IP but also not to infringe others. हम किसी का copy भी नहीं करें. it is not only always important that हम अपने लिए क्या कर सकते हैं, but of course not to get into any litigation. Don't copy others because they will have their own protected rights in that and they can sue you for that. This probably I will skip a few slides because Dr. Aparna has very, I'll say in a very good manner, she has tried to explain what is required in case of patents. But I made these slides specifically for my students to understand that agar, let's say if we have some thoughts, okay, this can be patentable or this is something new that I'm doing in my lab. So what is the criteria? What is the basic information you should have before approaching your patent lawyer or patent expert? So 3 criteria, ma'am said that it is the first and the foremost is novelty, that your work should be new, your invention should be new to the world. It is not like you have put it on the website, you have a local newspaper ko interview de diya, and then you go about filing for your patent. You have to file for your patent first thing before declaring it to the world. When I say world, it might be just your parallel peer group that is working in the next lab. So only the inventors should be having all the details. And as soon as you get some good results, you should be going in and filing for your patent at the first instance. Second is the after novelty is the inventive step. Inventive step again is the second, foremost criteria that has to be checked. But it is not that, I'll say it is not that simply put that it is inventive or not. Something inventive in the light of a PhD person might not be, inventive when we talk with the postdoc people, right? So it is just, I'll say, the baseline for checking the inventiveness is that it should be not obvious to the person skilled in the art, in the same art, I'll say. Agar invention chemical engineering ka hai, so chemical engineer should not feel that, okay, this was obvious, right? So we have to check obviousness on the, again, on the basis of the prior art that is available, but this criteria can be best, put forward to an expert to analyze. You should be at least sure of the novelty before you approach your lawyer. Third, the capability of the invention to go in for industrial application. That means it should have some industrial application. It should go to some industry and capable of being used in that industry. When we say that specifically, for example, if we have developed some mathematical formula or a shortcut, right? So that will not go in for a patent filing. Why? Because it might be new. You'll say, madam, it is new. I have made it myself. It might be inventive in sense that, okay, it was not previously available and you have, incorporated some logical reasoning to derive that formula. But how it will be of use to the industry is the point of question here. And probably the patent office will give you objection on granting rights based on that it is not having a industrial application. It is a shortcut of, let's say, calculating something. So these 3 criteria, if we are clear, we should be able to file for a patent. And patent, of course, though it has been projected as very complicated thing, again, I'll, touch the baseline saying that 90% of the new patents that are being filed in the patent office are over the existing patented inventions. So even if you have contributed a small step in improving the technology, go ahead for filing of a patent. But having said that, again, there are some things that are kept as non-patentable in India. And this is not by anyone's, wish and will. It has been clearly stated in our Patent Act 1970, and the Government of India under the Patent, Office, they will check for your invention before grant of a patent on these terms that are being laid in Section 3 and Section 4, saying that even if the invention is qualifying all the 3 basic criteria, it should not fall under these sections, Section 3 and 4. And only if it is, qualifying both the things, then it will go in for grant of patent rights. So quickly saying that patent, Section 3 and Section 4 says that if I touch upon the important ones for you, Priya, I think we can take questions at the end because I will be, trying and finishing in few minutes, and then probably we can take the questions simultaneously. So if we are clear with the invention, then we have to see that it should not be a mere admixture. Admixture, when we say we had, let's say, component A and B functioning separately. For example, if I say we have some medicine, aspirin. So if aspirin is taken for, blood as a blood thinner, And now we are seeing that aspirin can be used against COVID-19. So this invention, probably even if you have checked it for COVID-19, it will not be getting a grant of a patent because it will be a new use of a known substance. Similarly, if we put in few, herbal things together to form a formulation which work individually in their own context, then this new formulation will not qualify for a patent because this will be a mere admixture of things, and it will fall again under the traditional knowledge clause, and it will not get a grant of a patent because many of the BCom and the computer science people are there. So even when you are developing your softwares are not for patenting in India until and unless that is an embedded software. That means you are changing the functioning of the hardware along with the software. So only in those cases the patenting option is there. Otherwise, all the basic softwares or the apps that you develop, they will be qualifying for copyright protection and not patent. Similarly, if you are into development of, let's say, online games, or probably you are developing new plant varieties, so you should be aware that there are separate systems for giving protection to these kind of inventions, and particularly they will not get a patent grant for them. But again, in case of any doubt, feel free to refer to my office and we will help you in establishing patentability of your invention. The patent grant procedure, I have put it on my slide as a flowchart just to make you aware that yes, because everybody keeps on saying that बहुत complicated hai madam, let us not go in for patenting. It is better that we publish and get a publication citation for our PhD to get over, right? So though I agree it is a lengthy procedure, and it being a legal procedure, it will have its own timelines that are to be adhered. There are specific forms and procedures that have to be followed. Again, this procedure will again give you, I'll say, options to take care of things at the right time. You can quickly file your application and take care of your publications, and in the meanwhile complete your application and file the completed application within 12 months, right? So this detailed information probably is not easily available in the public domain. That is why we fear about filing of our patents. So again, in these kind of situations, refer to some attorney. He will help you. कि अगर PhD thesis आप submit भी करना चाह रहे हैं, just file a NDA form in the thesis itself and go in for a provisional filing of your patent. And once you have filed provisional, feel free to complete your whatever work you want to do and file for your publications. And in 1 year term, 1 year is like 12 months is a long time. So that 12 months you can completely utilize to complete your patent application and then file for the complete application. So those kind of things, again, for any sort of question, feel free to talk to an attorney. Otherwise, this is the basic procedure that has to be followed in the patent office for grant of each and every patent application, whether or not it is following in one domain or other. All the applications are being screened and examined in the similar way. Then specifically talking about forms, because many a times, again, faculty or students, they are I'll say they are confused which form to file, kya karna hai. Even if someone tells them that, you can file your patent yourself, they come up asking where to see which form is to be filed. So Patent Office India, if you just type this on the Google, it will take you to the Patent Office website. And on the website, there are, all the forms, fees, procedure, online form, online filing, procedure. Everything is being detailed on the website itself. But as in for, thumb rule, you can take this as a thumb rule that form 1, 2, 3, and 5, they have to be filed with each and every application, whether or not it is falling in one domain or other. Chahe wo chemical hai, chahe wo mechanical hai, chahe wo biotechnology hai, at least these forms will be accompanying for each and every application. Form 1, 2, 3, and 5. In case you are filing through an attorney, form 26. So I've mentioned which form relates to what, and these forms specifically will help you to complete the formal procedure of filing your patent application. Because we have biotechnology children here and faculty members. So in case you are filing for a biotech application, you have to also submit the source of origin from where you are taking the biological material. And in case you are working with the GMOs, so you have to deposit that GMO in the International Depository Authority, We have IMTech in Chandigarh, that is our closest depository. So you have to deposit your culture there or GMO there, and then take that session number and provide that in your patent application to complete your application for the examiner to examine. The fees again is one issue that people feel that, you know, it is a very expensive affair. This is the statutory fees that I'm putting on my slide. For all academic institutions which are recognized by UGC, government has recently slashed their fees to just mere 1600 for each application that you file. So this is the, you know, basic fees that is required by every application, plus the request for examination fees. All other fees will be optional and will vary from case to case, right? So in case you are requiring some editing or some, you know, amendment, you will be filing that fees, otherwise not. But the basic fees, if we talk about what is the basic fee of filing an application, so for an educational institution recognized by UGC, your fees will be 5,600 rupees for filing one invention in the patent office. Now comes the question of how to file. In fact, this is this question I'm putting it in context of patents, but this is like true to each form of IP. चाहे आपने नया डिजाइन बनाया है, चाहे आपका कोई इन्वेंशन है, चाहे आप कॉपीराइट लेना चाहते हैं, this is how you can go about filing any form of IP, because all forms of IP are on the same web portal, on the same website of Patent Office, Government of India. So you can just refer to that website and you'll be taken to the relevant portals where you can file your own application. As academic institution in Punjab, the government is supporting your patent and other IP filing through TISC and PIC, that is Patent Information Center. So my center will help you file for your inventions, and for that you will be required to submit a invention disclosure to my office, and based on the merit of the application, we will be filing your application through Department of Science and Technology, Government of India. This filing will be free to you. All the charges will be borne by TIFAC, Government of India, for the legal fees of the attorney, for even the statutory fees that is to be paid to Government of India. So you don't have to worry for any fees or going about anywhere to file your application. Everything will be done at your doorstep with me as a state node for you. So in case if you have any potential application, you can just route it to my office through your HOD or principal ma'am's office, and I will be taking care of taking it forward in case it has merit for filing. This similar thing you can do through your patent attorney that you can hire. The list again is there on the patent office website, or also as an inventor you can do yourself. You can file your patent yourself on the portal of on the website of Indian Patent Office, and both the options are there. You can e-file your application as well as you can send a hard copy of the application to the patent office through the physical filing mode. Now, talking about the IPs in general, let me give you a brief I'll say exposure to the services that government is providing to the education institutions, because I mean every one of us are fully enabled. We are all scientifically enabled to carry on the inventions, but probably we get lost. कहाँ पर approach करें कि हमें कुछ support मिल जाए, we get the basic information or we get the basic hand holding for doing these things. So my office, that is Patent Information Center at the PSCST Chandigarh. So my office can help you in getting your international patent search. Patent search is generally done to check for the patentability and the novelty of the invention. We can help you in filing your potential cases through DST, Government of India, at no cost to you. We also help in training your staff and your students on basics of IP searching. So we can conduct those kind of sessions. And recently, again, after coming up of the TISC, the country's first TISC center at my office, which is a representative office of WIPO government UN. So we are trying our best to support the IP commercialization. So for that also, you can refer to my office that this is the invention that we have developed, and we will try to handhold you in getting to the right stakeholder group in the state or around the country to commercialize that invention. If we talk about the portfolio that we are managing for the state, So we have conducted more than 770 patent searches till date. We are doing the technology scan, reports. We are submitting to Government of India, Government of Punjab, specifically to MSMEs and industries for carrying out specific study on basis of the patent and the non-patent literature that is available. We are also there to help in the GI registration because it's a community IP. So we also help in the filing of new GI applications. The Fulkari application that we filed in 2005 was granted, and now it is the first, protected GI from the state of Punjab. Similarly, we are working with other sister institutions to file more GI applications from the state. We have already, helped in filing more than 80 patents from the state of Punjab. And out of these, out of the previously filed applications, 46 of them have already been granted by Patent Office, Government of India. We try and, create capacities and, conduct different, campaigns for promoting the green technologies. We try and, tailor-made the workshops for IP commercialization and IP awareness. And we have recently launched the IP literacy drive in Punjab, wherein we are trying to give the basic information on all forms of IP, starting from the school level up to the university level in different, formats like webinars, moderated sessions, sometimes physical programs, sometimes online competitions. So we are driving the IP ecosystem in the state in all forms and respects that we are, capable of. For the novelty search, again, you can refer to my office, and for that basic, things that will be required are your invention disclosure in the form of an abstract telling what is actually you have invented, official covering letter from your HOD or principal, ma'am, probably that is being forwarded by the institutions. And for searching, we have kept a nominal fee just to bring the seriousness among our innovators. And this nominal fees is for the PG and the graduate colleges. We take 1,500 per search to be conducted on the online paid databases. And this database that we are using is the common database with Patent Office. So you'll be getting much clearer view of the patentability in case you go in for the patent search through my office. Otherwise, again, you can do it through a patent agent and also through the online freely available databases yourself. But probably what you'll get through my office will be much, I'll say, comprehensive and in harmony to what you expect from the Patent Office while they will be examining your patent application. As I already told, that recently we are taking the IP commercialization capacity building very seriously. So we have been trying and conducting regional workshops wherein we invite the faculty and students and startups from the nearby regions of the host institution. And the 3 recent workshops that we conducted were at IIT Ropar for the Ropar region, then one at Jalandhar, taking care of the entire Amritsar and the Jalandhar belt, and third we conducted at Thapar for the Patiala region. So these kind of programs, again, you all can participate. And before just ending my session today, I wanted to share a few examples of how things have been protected through IPR options through my office, which have actually, taken shape of marketable products. And these products are something that you are seeing in the market today. So if they can do it, if the institutions parallel to they can do it. Of course, you people are, good enough to take these things that seriously. The first and the foremost example that I wanted to share was of the haldi doodh that we are commonly seeing these days in all stores. So this Verka doodh has, haldi doodh has the technology that was developed by Punjab University Patiala, and we helped the IPR cell to file this file patent on this technology in 2019. Now during COVID, it was launched as an immunity booster, and this has been the technology has been transferred in India to Verka and also to a German parallel company for the haldi shots, the curcumin shots that are being that are very famous in the European countries. So this technology is a nano formulation of curcumin that is present in haldi, and this is I'll say the rightful usage of scientific temper, wherein we are using our traditionally known facts in a scientific manner to bring about a product to the market which is in line with the market needs. That means during COVID we were looking out for the immunity booster products. So this technology was very useful, and this technology has again done very well in the market, because it is not only taking care of the immunity, but of course doodh is a regular product. So the consumers were very well taking the packaged milk from the market, and now the haldi doodh is a preferred product for them. Similarly, not only Punjab University Patiala, NIT Jalandhar has taken a lead, wherein they have developed very varied products during COVID times, and they have taken their products to the market. So be it with a UV based surface cleaner, indoor sanitizer, or service robot. So these kind of small technologies that have been developed by our educational institutions were facilitated by my office for filing of their patents, going in for technology licensing deals, and finally these products are now seeing the light of the day in the market, and they are actually the real fruits of IP that are that we expect from the institutions to do on lines of these institutions. Ending my talk today, I again take pride in sharing my own institution's technology that we developed, that was in line with the state's grand challenge of pollution in the Mandi Gobindgarh region. So the engineers working with State Council, they were well aware, and they were very well working with the brick kilns being operated in the state. And understanding the problems of pollution, they developed a hybrid kiln technology for them. And this technology not only having a commercial potential, but it was having a much higher societal and environmental impact. It was approved by PPCB, and it has been implemented successfully in more than 900 brick kilns in the state. So what we see today in Mandi Gobindgarh region is a white kind of fume that is visible on the slide itself. Earlier it was all black smoke during the peak season of the brick kilns. So this kind of impact is not only helping us, this kind of technology development is not only helping us in solving a grand challenge of the state, but yes, it has also brought back the commercial benefits to our state council, to our state, as well as to our country. So with that, I mean vision, let us all join hands, be innovative, don't try to copy things from here and there. Whenever you are doing your research project, whenever you are doing your assigned work, try and do something new. And in case that is something that you have not copied and developed yourself, starting from any invention to any new design, feel free to file for that IP through us or through a private attorney, whatever suits you best. And let us all take our state to the next level of innovation, wherein we can be the top 3 states of the country, and probably help India become Atmanirbhar, as well as project itself in the top 25 innovative countries of the world. So with that, I'll stop my presentation now, and I invite questions, if at all there are any, regarding IP or any service that can be provided by State Council for your institution for IP filing. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your wonderful presentation and telling us in detail about patents, patent grant procedure, the fees which is being charged for granting the patents. Thank you for sparing your valuable time with us. And dear participants, if you have queries, you can put it in the chat box.
I think we had one participant who was wanting to ask some questions. So feel free kindly, because that is the whole purpose of this webinar today. In case you have any relevant query, please feel free to ask. Otherwise, I've shared my email ID on the last slide. So you can, post your queries even after this program on my email ID, and I'll be there and I'll be happy to respond to your queries.
Dear participants, if you have any query, you can please ask ma'am. Or you can put it in the chat box. Thank you so much, ma'am. Nobody has responded yet, but I think they will put their queries in the chat box. So our next resource person, dear participants, our next resource person is Dr. Hardeep Singh Ji. Professor, Department of Computer Science and Officer on Special Duty to Vice Chancellor Office, Guru Nanak Dev University, Amritsar. I welcome you, sir, on this platform.
My dear ma'am.
Welcome, sir. Before sir start his presentation, I would like to introduce you all with the detailed profile of Dr. Hardeep Singh ji. As I already told you that Dr. Hardeep Singh is Professor at Department of Computer Science and OST to VC Office, Guru Nanak Dev University, Amritsar. Sir has to his credit 74 papers published in different national and international journals, 71 conference papers, and 4 book chapters. Apart from this, sir is member of many professional bodies like Fellow British Computer Society, Life Member Punjab Science Congress, Member Board of Governors, APJ Educational Society, New Delhi, Senior Member Computer Society of India, Member International Association of Engineers, Member Research Degree Committee and Research Degree Board of GNDU Amritsar and Punjab University, Chandigarh, expert member on various committees of UGC, AICTE and MBA, and the list is pretty long. So having sir as our resource person for today's webinar is indeed a pleasure for us. Sir, if you kindly allow, can we take a screenshot with your good self and our other participants?
Hello.
Hello, sir. If you please allow us, can we take the screenshot with the participants?
Sure. Please go ahead. Please
Dear
go ahead.
participants, thank you, sir. Dear participants, please switch on your video for a minute so that we can take the screenshot. Thank you all participants. You can now switch off your video. And now my humble request to our worthy resource person, Dr. Hardeep Singh ji, for his presentation. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, ma'am. My sincere thanks to begin with to the management of the college, Dr. Srina Talwar, the principal of the college, Jyoti madam, and other associated persons who have been responsible for conceptualizing this idea and then implementing it, and then realizing this in form of a webinar today. It's indeed a matter of pleasure and pride for me to be part of this webinar this afternoon. However, I like to apologize before I start that since I'm not an expert in this particular field, and most of the things have already been conveyed to you regarding the various aspects of IPR. Pati had conveyed you a few things regarding what the work being done at Csir Labs. And then Dr. Divya Kaushik had told you something about what is known as the intricacies of the patents, especially, and the processes involved therein to file a process, so who can do it and how it is to be done, and so on and so forth. I think those presentations have been very, very useful. I confessed earlier that I am not an expert in this particular area, though I am a user of the IPR on a day-to-day basis, and we have a very common concern about IPR nowadays, especially in the academic community, that how it is being handled, more importantly, the worldwide. I don't have any presentations to show you, but I have 2-3 quick points to make regarding IPR. A lot of things have been said about the types of IPRs that we have. Like people have talked about the patents, the copyrights. As Madam said in the inaugural speech of ours, we have the trademarks, we have GI, and so on and so forth. The designs are now also part of that. So this is a common knowledge that depending upon the kind of intellectual activity that you undertake, we have the IPR available for that. Since it is a property, it must be protected. Very simple thing. It is not a physical property, as was mentioned earlier. It is like intellectual property, non-tangible kind of a thing, but having a very, very important impact on society. So it must be protected. So we have the common laws also available. If you have any impeachment of the property, anybody encroaches upon your property, we have the corresponding laws. The legal fraternity will tell you that for every breach of IPR, we have a corresponding section available whereby the persons can not only be prosecuted, but can be like given the punishments also accordingly. Ladies and gentlemen, I mean, I'm trying to look at the bigger picture where we are focusing on. You see, we are living in a kind of a situation, we live in a kind of world which is termed as a knowledge society. It's a knowledge society where we are living in, and we keep on making use of one form of the knowledge or the other on a day-to-day basis. I normally say this thing very often, that knowingly, unknowingly, willingly, unwillingly, intentionally, unintentionally, we are all part of this society which is governed by knowledge in one form or the other. Question therefore is that how this knowledge is generated. We are making use of knowledge, and are we also generating knowledge, or how this knowledge is generated? It's an intellectual process which generates knowledge. Mind you, before I start dealing with a little bit more detail about my presentation, see, in today's world, the wealth of a particular nation is determined by the amount and the quality of knowledge it possesses. More knowledge, the latest knowledge, and high quality knowledge. If any nation possesses, that nation is considered to be more powerful and wealthier than any other nation in the world. So that is the importance of knowledge, and that makes it a little more important for us to understand why it is important to look at the intellectual property. Because knowledge is an intellectual property. Knowledge is created through intellectual interactions, intellectual processing, or whatever you like to call. Therefore, we need not only to create knowledge, we need not only to store knowledge, we need not only to process knowledge, but more importantly, we need to protect knowledge, not for our own sake, but for sake of those persons who have put in a lot of efforts in creating the knowledge. Those efforts must be recognized before the knowledge is being used. It's very, very important thing to note down. See, now coming back to the topic I initiated with the kind of knowledge, I'll speak a little bit on this particular aspect. You see, when we talk of knowledge, knowledge primarily is of two types. We have the tacit knowledge and explicit knowledge. Tacit knowledge is that knowledge which remains in the mind of a particular person or within a group of very small person. It is not available for the public at large. That type of the restricted knowledge is termed as what is known as the tacit knowledge. However, other form of knowledge which is available to masses, which is ready for mass consumption, is used for the betterment of society and so on and so forth. That type of knowledge is known as the explicit knowledge. There is always a process going on to convert the tacit knowledge to explicit knowledge. Now, here lies the catch. That is, the tacit knowledge is very, very important thing to protect. That knowledge which is generated by highly specialized minds, highly specialized people, and is restricted to a certain number of people or probably a single person. That knowledge, when it is converted to explicit knowledge, whereby that knowledge is consumed by a large number of persons, that particular knowledge requires to be protected. And there, what is important is the IPR. Here we actually protect, here we actually apply the intellectual property rights to protect the tacit knowledge so that it is like the rights of a person are not violated. The persons who have generated the tacit knowledge probably are acknowledged, and then it is made public, for the public consumption. That is very, very important thing. So that is the importance of the IPRs in current events in our. Now, the dimensions of IPR have been expanding over a period of time. We have been adding more and more articles to the various types of IPRs that we have. As was mentioned earlier, every speaker has mentioned, we normally talk of like patents, copyright, trademarks, GIs, and so on and so forth. However, the kind of world that we are living in, it's very, very important thing to note down with the inclusion of another type of IPR, which is known as data exclusivity. Because we know we are living in a kind of society where there is a huge amount of data which is available to us. See, you'll be surprised to know that on this particular earth, we have around 8 billion people living right now. Little less than 8 billion people all around the world living nowadays. But you'll be surprised, you'll be more surprised rather, that for 8 billion people on this earth, we have about 50 billion digital devices available. That for one particular person on this earth, we have approximately 6 devices available. And if you take out the infants of 2 years and below, and we take out the elderly, 80+2, who probably don't make use of these devices, we have approximately 8 devices available for every human being on this earth, on average. See, when we make use of these devices, a huge amount of data is being generated all over the world. What do we do with this data? What do we do with this data? I mean, you have your personal data available, you have every kind of data available on this earth, and we need to secure this data in one form or the other. Otherwise, if the data is not secured, probably it will land into the bad hands and it will lead to some kind of a misuse of that particular data. It's very, very important thing to note down that the information that is generated on the basis of this particular data is of immense importance to us. That we need to analyze this particular data and then use the generated information for the betterment of the society. So it is very, very important thing to note down that we are living in a kind of what is known as information sphere. We are enveloped by the information sphere. A huge amount of data is being generated 24/7, and we need to protect this data for the protection of the mankind, for the protection of the human race in the times to come. So that is why we have another type of what is known as IPR, which is coming nowadays, the exclusivity of data that is being generated, that is available to the organizations, that is available outside the organization, available in the whole information sphere at various points of interaction, and so on and so forth. It's a very, very important thing to note down that this particular thing is to be made secure. You see, when we talk of the education of the particular person in general, in various educational institutions, I also belong to a particular education institution, we do talk of education in its complete form. We have been talking of inclusion of various types of subjects here and there, all around in the various subjects, that's fine. One thing which has been talked of very often nowadays is how to carry about telling the students about the ethics. Why I'm touching upon this particular topic is because when we talk of the IPR, it is all about ethics. We see the violation of various types of IPR being carried out in our day-to-day life. However, more than that, I must emphasize on this particular point that if we are to make the students aware of IPR, this has to be conveyed to them from day one. It is not only that how we are to file a patent. It is about the appreciation of IPR in our day-to-day lives, and how we appreciate the intellectual property of various kinds. That is, now, if we are looking at a computer, we make use of the software. Any particular software that we make use of is probably a certain kind of IPR, intellectual property, IP, some kind of intellectual property somebody might have created. So normally what is being done at the various places is, I'm telling you, this is the most common violation of IP. See, but most of the places what is being done is that we actually copy a piece of software from one country and use it without the permission of the actual developer of the software. This is violation of the copyright. The software falls under the copyright agreement. And this is what is to be done, what is to be told at the very early stages, that whenever a particular person makes use of a particular item, any particular product, be it a software product or any other product, the IP has to be respected. We must see whether we are actually not violating IP. This is the education. And this is very important part of ethics education, that not only we have to file our own IP, that is the patents and the copyrights and all those things, we also must appreciate the IP of other persons. This is very, very important thing to know down. And see, there are huge number of cases piled up where on day-to-day basis, I mean, we have the violations of IPR being done by various persons of society simply because they are ignorant about it. But then ignorance is no excuse before law. Ignorance of law is no excuse. We must know what we are using, how we are using, and why we are using a particular item. If at any point of time we find any infringement of intellectual property being done at any point of time, it must be appropriately reported as well. So not only we are to create more and more patents, as was mentioned by the previous speaker, that the IPR culture actually leads to certain kind of innovation. That is, if we are aware of the IPR culture, if we are aware of patent culture, if we are aware of the copyright culture, we ourselves want to be part of this particular thing. That indirectly leads to a kind of situation where more and more people are trying to do something different. And that leads to some kind of innovation ecosystem where more and more innovations are reported. And you see, the economy of the nation can only be self-dependent if we have our own innovations done for various particular domains. And we must encourage the students to carry out the original thinking. You see, patents are nothing, especially if you look at the IPR. It is basically a novel idea which has to come out of the box. We have to think of an idea which has not been thought of earlier. We have to think out of the box. That is very, very important thing to note down. See, when we talk of the intellectual property is what we think that we create through our brains with an experience or with the interactions, whatever knowledge we have, all things get combined together to give us some kind of a situation where we come at a situation when we can think differently from others. So basically, what is a patent? What is a trademark? What is a kind of a copyright? It is nothing else but a new idea which has not been thought of earlier. So we need to think out of the box. At this juncture, I would like to request the faculty members of the institutions, various institutions. I have been to various institutions where we have talked of this particular issue as well. I must request the faculty members, we need to create a culture in our organization, in our education institution, where we must encourage those persons, those students who actually are thinking other than what is being taught in the syllabus. That's very, very important thing. This is a primary factor in initiating and inculcating what is known as the innovation culture. Innovation is nothing else, but we need to look at the thing in a different way. We know it, right? To improve upon the thing, or you think upon a particular idea. If a student comes up with a very novel idea, we must encourage it. I am aware of this particular fact that all ideas are not successful, but every idea must be given a try. Once we give a try to a particular idea, even if about 10% ideas are successful, we'll be in a situation where the innovation index of our country will be very high. So we need not have a special education for what is known as innovation. It is not that the persons who actually are in the technical domain, they can give us an idea about some kind of innovation. Any person, any student can think, any person in the society can think of an idea which is different from what has already been thought, which nobody has thought of earlier. So only thing that we can do sitting in the organization, in the education institution, where we need to encourage it. We need not to be discouraging this idea. So we should actually propagate the out of the box idea culture in the education institution, because this is the most fertile ground that we have. We get the most fertile brains in these institutions. And if we encourage this particular idea, then probably there is a chance that we get a few good ideas which are different from others, and we get good number of IPR registration. So that will not only enhance the prestige of the institution, but overall the impact of those innovations will be beneficial to the society as well. I am reminded of a particular quote given by a very famous personality, Victor Hugo. He said in one of his speeches, "No one on earth can stop an idea whose time has come." Why we are stopping, why we are trying to stop. The idea, the seed has to be sown and it has to germinate. If it is not your fertile ground, it may be going somewhere else, but it has to germinate at one point of time. So why not we provide them the fertile ground for those seeds to germinate and to give us a very beautiful product at the end. So I'm very happy that this initiative is taken by one of the premier institutions of our university, Chandi Devi Arya Mahila College, Dinanagar. I always say that whenever I happen to go to two very important women colleges during the convocation recent past, we always say that if you teach a person, you teach a person. If you teach a woman, teach a girl, teach a female, you teach the entire generation. Very, very important thing to note. And if this type of culture is initiated and inculcated in institutions where the girls are studying, you can well imagine the impact of this kind of situation on the rest of the society. So my congratulations to the college for having thought of this particular idea and taken up this particular idea and then propagating it very beautifully. I must also thank them and congratulate them for making the students part of this particular interaction and selecting two very important and useful speakers in this particular interaction. I hope the purpose of this particular webinar is realized in due course of time. I must say one thing, that whatever tempo we have generated right now through discussion of the two very eminent experts on our panel, that should not be allowed to die down. It is not that this webinar is over and then it's okay, one of those things in the activity chart of the college, but we must build upon what we have gained today. This culture has to be propagated. Whatever has been told by the experts need to be conveyed to the rest of the students, and it's to be followed up. But how many people are actually doing it in the right way? Only then the purpose of holding these kind of webinars is actually realized. So once again, congratulations to the college, and thank you very much for having me on this particular webinar this afternoon. Although, as I mentioned, I again confess I'm not an expert in IPR, but then we can always be an instrument in propagating the idea. And I can be one of those things. And I have already been doing, and I have conveyed my feelings accordingly to all of you. Thank you very much. All the very best to all of you. My best wishes to the students and for the college. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. Honorable Dr. Hardeep Singh Ji, for such an elaborative, useful, and informative speech. Thank you so much, sir.
My pleasure.
Myself, Sunita Verma, from Zoology Department, wishes a very good afternoon to all the guests for being with us for such a long time. On the behalf of Principal Ma'am, Science, Computer Science and Commerce Department, it's my proud privilege to deliver a vote of thanks to worthy guests, Dr. Aparna Patti, Dr. Divya Kaushik, and Dr. Hardeep Singh Ji for devoting their precious time to our institution out of their busy schedule. Thank you so much, all the worthy guests. Last but not least, I thank all the participants as their participation has made this webinar a successful event. Now all the participants are requested to please fill the feedback form which is shared in the chat box. Feedback form link is shared in the chat box. Please, all the participants, fill this feedback form. Thank you so much.